Welcome to a steamy sunset safari. It's a 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it's definitely not 32 degrees Fahrenheit, that's zero. It's 32 degrees Celsius, 90 Fahrenheit, and it is beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky. And here we go. Dangerous Dave is on camera today. My name is Brent Smith. We have Rebecca and Kirsten in final control, and James and Brian out on the other vehicle. So, very exciting. Lots of stuff around. Wild dogs near the boundary, a male leopard on Arethusa, and I just heard a scream of an elephant close by. So, while it's hot, let's go look for some eddies. Hopefully they'll be entertaining us, and from where that sound came from, hopefully they're having a mud wallow. Bouncy, bouncy. So it sounds like elephants, sort of that deep scream, that you often find when breeding herds are interacting, possibly chasing off the unwanted attentions of a musk bull. Lots of wonderful creatures about, and great to have you on the back of the vehicle with us on this wonderful Sunday afternoon in South Africa. Pump these tires quite hard, it's a bit bouncy. You know, rattling is something that drives me nuts. There we go, that should do it. Beautiful little bird. You got him, Dave? No. There, more or less. Please don't fly, please don't fly. Go up a bit, I think. Come out of it. He's just behind that. Oh no, there he is. He's going to land over there. Incredibly beautiful little bird. There. And one I don't think I've managed to put on camera before. So it could be a new one. It's just nipping around in that thicket. I'm going to try and move a skosh closer, but I think it could be a new one for the bird lists. Let's sneak. Please don't fly, little birdie. Well, it's already escaped, and that would be quite tragic. Where did you go, little Melba? Or little finch? Okay, well, we can try a trick. I can't see him now. Let's try a little trick. Oh dear. He doesn't seem to be playing. There he is. Oh, he's gone quite far. Okay, he got scared by a hornbill. Oh dear. Okay. I'm going to zoom into that thicket there. Keep going. He's proving quite an irksome little character, but hopefully we'll spot him shortly. Gusty, playing tricks on my eyes, but he is there. And we're just going to keep still for a bit. They might move back to the road. I can hear them little twitters. There's a testicular there as well. But let's show you what he looks like in the meantime. Hopefully we will manage to put him on camera shortly. But he is an incredibly beautiful little bird. And we want F for finch. Okay. It used to be called a Melba finch. They've now changed the name to green-winged Petilia. So incredibly beautiful, but very, very small, about the same size as a blue waxbill. I got spooked by that hornbill, unfortunately. I can still hear the little calls Very high-pitched little calls. I think they're scurrying around in the bottom of that tree fall there. Let's maybe if we sneak it a little bit further forward. Well, it looks like he's eluded us, so that's definitely now on my hit list. We definitely have to keep a sharp eye out for any little green-winged tilliers to add to the growing bird list. We're going to keep moving towards those elephants that were screaming just now. Sounded like they were down towards the Moati River system. Nice hot weather. There's a good chance the eddies are going to be playing in the mud. If you're wondering about the African bush, if you have ever wanted to know something specific, now is your chance. Send me a question on the email address questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. Lots of eddy tracks here. So we've got a lot of big musk bull elephants around, and Kara, who's in the very, very pretty but very damp city of Seattle. Oh, see, lots of eddies. They've just been playing in the mud. This is where after all day we've just missed them. Right. Well, at least my ear's working. Akara is wondering if leopards have a must period as well. They don't. They will mate whenever a female's in estrus, but they don't have to be in any heightened hormonal state to mate. There we go. We just missed those eddies in the mud, but maybe they'll just go play in the next bit of mud, which is coming up down the road. Looks like a lovely big herd. And there are some big bulls with them as well. So let's try and get up ahead. See where they're off to. Oh, there's an elephant flirting. Look at that. Bit of eddy flirting going on there. That you can see the size difference between that bull and cow. And the sweet smell of must is in the air. Let's get around the head of them. There's little Inyala daintily walking from thicket to thicket, trying not to look like she's in a hurry. They feel more secure when they're in thicker areas, and you can see she's making her way from one little river system to another. A few big bulls. Okay, let's just get into position. It's so wonderful having all these massive herds around. You do have to be a little bit cautious with all the musk bulls. Chasing them about can make them a little bit nervous. There we go, that's the spot. there's a big path here that the eddies are walking down. So we're just going to turn around and wait for them to come to us. Go. First one's just popped up, but they're going to pop out here. The main part of the herd are going to pop out around that corner there. There we go. So ellies are non-territorial animals. That's what Ainsl's was wondering. And they can travel, probably during local migrations. They can move as far as 100 kilometers, not here, but in places like Botswana. The big bulls travel much bigger distances, and they can have a massive home range. But the breeding herds, they do have a home range rather than a territory. Hello, Ellies. Looks like you had a great time in the mud bath. It's a parade of elephants. See this female? Just showing a few signs of, there we go, she's fine now. Just looked a little bit uncomfortable for a second, but she's perfectly fine. Now, if we're lucky, we might see someone holding another's tail. They do that quite often in these situations. Hello, little troubles. Little boys. I'm going to block you, I'm going to block you. And here comes a bull. Hello, mister. Yes, shake your head. We are very impressed with how large you are. Young bull, early 20s, or maybe closer to 30. Almost always at the back of the herds, the peripheries. Isn't that wonderful? Big parade of elephants coming past. Oh, it looks like they're going to possibly have another mud bath at the next wallow. That'd be fantastic. These two here are bulls, and see how much bigger they are. Oh, looks like there's no more mud to wallow in this one. Oh, there's a bit. It's just mud. Hey, mister. It's amazing how quickly these things dry up. And the more ellies utilize them, it makes them dry quicker as they kick the mud around. Now, I'm afraid there's not much left in there. Oh, watch this, watch this. Now look at this. It almost looks like he was trying to sneak up on us around the side of the tree. And we've got the two bulls here still with us. The rest of the herd moving into some thickets. So, yeah, smelling urine, smelling dung, checking for the estrus signs. And Kathy in Tennessee was wondering that. Do elephant bulls just come into must, or is it triggered by a female estrus? They do come into must, but a lot of bulls will only come into must when there's multiple females in estrus. And the really big boys come into must when the most females are in estrus. So there is a connection between the two. Hey, mister. Although I think you're not going to be doing too much mating yet. I think the big boys will chase him away. So Deanna's wondering, do they mate once and to get pregnant, or do they mate multiple times like the leopards? Well, they won't mate nearly as many times as a leopard, but the female will mate with multiple males, but it does last a little bit longer than Mr. 4-second Tingana. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Well, we're going to let them move through into the Mawati, quite thick down there, so I had a lovely view of them walking past us. And let's go see what else is out and about on Djuma this Sunset Safari. Let's go have a look around the Treehouse Waterhole. Maybe more eddies. So Lucy in South Bend, Indiana is wondering, are there any birds we'll see in the winter months we won't see in the summer months? Unfortunately not, Lucy. I think all the resident bird species that we can see throughout the year will be here in winter. I mean, there is always a chance of a rare vagrant, but very unlikely. So the same set of birds, minus the migrants, will be seen in winter. So much elephant activity at the moment. It's wonderful. So, I think today is the day for the impossible tree quiz. We did the nearly impossible tree quiz, the slightly difficult tree quiz, and so far I haven't managed to catch you guys out yet. So I think today is the day for the impossible tree quiz, not the nearly impossible. I'm going to catch you. I haven't decided what I'm going to catch you with yet. That is still to be ascertained. A while ago, a couple of days ago, we must have seen a group of elephants over 100. And Blair's wondering, now, in those circumstances, does one become the matriarch over all? Or do they each still look after their individual family units? Blair, there will be some hierarchy, but the matriarchs will generally look after their little natal unit, and they won't sort of give away to a single individual female to take control of that. Now, in a lot of cases, a lot of those, when you get these big congregations of elephants, a lot of them will be related, sort of sisters, cousins, and things like that. But it is very fascinating to watch the different interaction between the different groups. Now, as you can imagine, there can be some serious competition for mating rights. And when you get two animals that weigh 6,000 kgs each bashing into each other, there's obviously going to be sometimes injuries and damage. And Joyce in Pennsylvania was wondering, do they just wait till one gives up, or do they actually hurt each other? They can actually kill each other. I found an elephant bull that was killed by another one, and he had been impaled multiple times. through his head, through his chest, and I think even after that guy couldn't fight anymore. That other male elephant pushed home its advantage. But normally, the one, when it realizes it's losing, will skedaddle and try to run away from that. But in certain circumstances, it does get very serious, and they can injure each other quite seriously. Santi in Pretoria is wondering, will an elephant bull ever kill a calf? I've never seen it. I've never heard of any reason for an elephant doing that. They generally don't ever attack calves or not. It's always possible, but very, very unlikely. I've never seen it, and I've actually never heard of it. Generally, when those bulls start fighting and their testosterone's really up, the females will get out of there and get those calves out of there very quickly. We're nearly at the Treehouse Waterhole. Fingers crossed we've got some ellies playing in the mud. We're going to be there in about 30 seconds. Let's have a quick look, and then we'll go across to Commander Bond so he can bid you a good evening. We're nearly at the waterhole. Alas, it looks like not much happening here at the Treehouse Waterhole. So let's go see what James is up to on Cheetah Plains.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm so sorry for the lateness of our appearance today. I am with Brian. My name is James Henry. Brian has... is that a lion, Brian?
It is.
A lion on Brian's thumb. Lion and Brian are, of course, rhyming words. We've come to Cheetah Plains in the hopes of finding some cheetah or some ostriches or some lions. Audio's what?
Peking.
Peking. Audio's peking. I'll whisper to you.
Don't shout at us.
We are using a slightly different camera today, and so I shall talk like David Attenborough for the majority of the drive. We are approaching 3 Pans, which is, of course, on Cheetah Plains. Now, you're just as live with us as you are with Brent. There we go. I think we've sorted out our audio.
Yep, 100%.
Here is the first pan. Nothing is drinking here, Brian. Second pan is coming up. Now our audio is soft. Oh dear, Brian.
People just aren't happy.
People just aren't happy with our voices today. Now, here at the second pan, there are a few birds. Now, I'm laughing, of course, because this new camera is not easy to operate, which means that Brian...
I don't even know which birds you're seeing.
There's the bird there.
Still can't see. Oh, there.
Have you got audio? Sorry, people. We're just trying to sort out the audio issues. Rebecca, do you copy us? I think we're going to link back to Brent until we've sorted out these audio issues. So, Rebecca, if you don't mind preparing him, and then we'll go back across to him. That is a 3-banded plover, and there's also a wood sandpiper here. We obviously can't see them at this stage.
There we go.
You got one. Well done. How about now? Can you hear us now? Is that better?
Seems like James is having a few problems with his audio. Hopefully they get it sorted out sharply. So till then, you're back with me in search of the impossible tree. Always like doing a little meander through here as well. It's the area Karula has been utilizing when she comes across from a little gowrie. So always good to have a squeeze for a track or three. And of course, in search of the impossible tree. I do love this time of the year, these hot afternoons as they get to the later in the evening. That wonderful little cool crispness that creeps into the air. Oh, hello. Let's find a good spot to view them from there. Some buffaloes. Oh, we picked up a stick friend. Hang on. Back with me. Sorry, got a stick stuck under the car. It's being a very obstinate stick. Can we get rid of it there, Sam? No. Right, well, let's look at the buffaloes first, then we'll deal with the stick. Hello, gentlemen. How is your afternoon wallow going? Oh, it's Mr. Blind Eye. Well, he's not going to like us here. This one over here. There he is. He's blind in his right eye. And the fact that we're going to be on this side is going to irritate him a little bit, so I'm actually going to move around to the other side of the pan, otherwise he might get up and move and shame. He's already got it quite tough, blind in the eye, so let's rather not worry him in his blind spot and go around to his good eye. Lots of buffaloes. They're breeding herd coming through. Oh, I think that's what you call timing. I just see this dust through there, and yes, we've hit it on the nail. There's a big-ish herd. We can't see how many yet of buffalo coming through, and they might be coming for a drink. So I'm going to try and get to the other side of the pan. Hello, buffaloes. Oh, look at the little one. Hello, little one. So cute. Hello, little new. We're just going to get on to the other side of the pan so we can get a good view of them drinking. It's not. Well, you can see that the big bulls are, the old bulls are moving off as this breeding herd comes, because obviously there's going to be some young bucks who might want to challenge the older boys, so they've actually just moved off as this herd's arrived. Here we go, there's one running away now. Old Mr. One Eye took one look at that breeding herd coming in, and he decided, you know what, my days of bashing horns with young boys is over. You can hear him snorting in the distance. Here comes a little calf to the right there. Hopefully it comes and drinks right next to us. There comes another female. Difficult to say how many there are just yet, but we're just going to sit here and let them come to us. Animals are always more comfortable if you let them walk to you rather than you driving to them, as you can see. Now, they might just keep moving, not too much in terms of drinking. It's a bit muddy. They might drink still, but I think they might keep moving towards Treehouse Waterhole. They might just stop for a brief little wallow. Look at the little guy right in the thick of it, in the mud. this stunning. I think there could be a couple of hundred in here, and they're going to engulf us. And so as I said, I don't think they're going to drink here. I think they're going to, maybe some of them will have a little wallow and then move off towards Treehouse Waterhole. There's a bit more water for them. Oh, he's going to be a nice big boy. Very wide horns. If you look closely on his horns, you can still see there's hair there, so they're not completely hard. Very big horns. And the rest of the herd is slowly filtering through now. Look at them. Oh, they look, actually, this could be a very big herd. I'm just seeing dust in the distance. I think this little pan might be a bit small. So we're going to sit here and see what happens with these buffalo. While we do that, let's go see what Commander Bond is up to.
Right, let's try again, everybody. We found a bird. We've now got focus on two birds, a three-banded plover on the right-hand side and a wood sandpiper on the left. Now, the wood sandpiper I'm quite surprised to see here because I thought he would have flown away by now. But here he is. He is definitely a migrant and is very spotty, this particular one. And I'm thinking maybe it's a young one. And sometimes the young ones spend their first year in the place where they were born, and then they go overseas in the next year. So maybe that's what's going on here. It is very spotty indeed. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a wood sandpiper. I can't think of anything else it could be. Let me just quickly consult the bird app. My book seems to agree with me that it is a wood sandpiper. It's very peaceful here at 3 pans, so named because there are 3 pans in a row. Not much in the way of bird song, still quite sort of quiet mid-afternoon calling. Yes, I'm pretty sure that that is a wood sandpiper. Let me quickly find the picture for you, then you can believe me. Where are you? Where are you? There we go. It is definitely a wood sandpiper. Brian, is there going to be too much glare on that?
See.
There we go. Can you see it at all, Brian? There we go.
Kind of.
Wood sandpiper, everybody. Definitely very spotty. White eyebrows, very obvious, and they join on the top of the beak, just like they do on that bird. Let's go across to Brent. The rest of the buffalo are arriving for their drink. We'll continue to the plains.
So here we go, a little one. Another little one coming down to the mud. But as Dave comes out, you'll see we're slowly being completely surrounded. And as I said, there could be quite a few here, a couple of hundred, just judging from the dust that's emanating out of the bush. Now, the one problem with big buffalo herds is we get... Oh, yes, he doesn't want any other boys inside of the pool. So this is one of the dominant males from the herd. He's the type of guy that made those old boys move off. And now he'll let all the females and youngsters come play in his mud wallow that he's now claimed. But any adult male buffalo or nearly adult male buffalo that approaches will be chased. As you can see, buffalo are incredibly social animals. It's a big breeding herd. Multiple males, multiple females, multiple youngsters. A buffalo only become solitary, and even then not truly solitary, when they're old and retired. Those old boys who can't fight for mating rights anymore will move off and form little bachelor groups. So Tim was wondering whether they're social or solitary. As you can see, there's a couple of hundred here, Tim. So a very social animal. And you can see a fungal infection on that one's back. Hi, Aaron, from the land of the long white cloud. Aaron is wondering what's the biggest herd of Cape buffalo I've ever seen. In the Sabi Sands, the biggest herd I've seen is around 1,000. In Kruger, I've seen one a little bit bigger than that, not much bigger than 1,000. But oh, look how small this guy is. Oh, someone's lost Mom. You can hear that call. Boo, Mom. There's there. Mom. Sorry, Aaron, sidetracked there. But the biggest herd I've seen in Botswana was estimated at just over 5,000. It's the biggest herd in living memory. It was so big that the Botswana National Park sent up a helicopter, I mean not a helicopter, an airplane, and took photographs of it. And some poor person had to go count every single one in that aerial photograph. Sorry guys, it's going to be on the radio. I'm standing by, Sam. Sam, I'm the only one out, and I've done twin dams to Elephant Carcass, and I'm now at Shabam Junction with Treehouse Road, and there's a large herd of buffalo here. Copy. Now, the one wonderful thing about having big herds of buffalo around, they are literally the most enticing thing to a pride of lions. They attract lions. Well, buffalo attract lions lions, well, let me get this straight here. Buffalo attract lions like, okay, so that doesn't work. I was going to say like flies, buffalo attract flies. They both are attracted to buffalo. But if there's a hungry pride of lions about, there's a literal smorgasbord in front of them of sub-adults, babies, older females. So there's a good chance that there's going to be an individual who's going to be a bit weak. Wow, look at that guy's horns there. See him, Dave? He's got that funny, at the back, a little bit more, zoom, there we go. Just to the left of frame. That's him there. That all looks all right. Standing at the back, looking at us. Look at that wonderful big boss. Still quite a young boy. He's going to be an impressive specimen when he's older. So sometimes it's not all about the horns. So some of these bigger bodied bulls, look at this, just a little quick break for these buffalo females on their way looking for probably a better drinking spot. This is just a nice spot to cool down. It's going to be quite funny to see if the space is running out now, and they just keep coming. There's more and more. Here we go, and an old female just boots out a younger one. Almost like, it's my turn, you've had your turn. I love all the sounds I heard about buffalo, man. You know, some oxpeckers chirping as well. Always a very common sound amongst the buffalo herd. Oh, they're still coming. They're just still coming. So far, I'd reckon about 200 have passed us, but they're still lots on the way. Afternoon, Mike. Just a large number of Nyari. Shabam Junction with Treehouse Road. got mud on, somehow has managed to get mud on its forehead. Mom's in there somewhere. It's probably not a good idea to go wandering too deep into that pan, this one. Ooh. Mike says, Shambi of Nyari. There's someone else who's lost mom in the background. Meh. Look at them still streaming in. So, of course, the baby on there. The babies are the easiest target for a pride of lions. And Donna is wondering, do they surround the baby to protect them? They do, Donna, and those big bulls with those massive bosses form the outer layer. Oh, someone's being kicked out again. They do, very much so, Donna, and then the bulls will defend the edges, the females, the next layer, and then the sub-adults and babies right in the center. But of course, the way lions hunt big herds of buffalo is to create pandemonium. So they don't really stalk too stealthily. What they do is they sort of rush the buffalo and get them to panic and run in different directions and try to pick off a weaker individual or a buffalo that gets separated from the others. They're still coming, still coming. I mean, from a distance still. I think the biggest herd we've seen on live safaris must be about 300. This could be close to that size, if not maybe even a bit bigger. We're now in the middle of them, and they're just not stopping. Now, the nice thing about these big herds of buffalo is you see quite a lot of difference in the horns and that. And Rain, he's 15 years old, wondering, have I ever seen one with strange or deformed horns? I have, and pretty much most herds of this size will have one or two. Well, there's a female who's got a broken horn. To the left of it, Dad. There you go, there she is on the other bank. Right. There she is, she's broken the tip of her horn. But you do often find deformities in their horns, and it's not that uncommon. I've even seen one where the horn has actually grown into the side of the buffalo's face, causing quite a lot of pain. I've had a nice big herd like this for a while. Funty is wondering, is this one big family or many families? Also, I would say, oh, there we go, there's a deformed horn. And to the left, just behind that. There we go, there to the left, there, just behind the bush. There's a deformed horn. They're going straight down on that buffalo cow. Funny angle, looks very strange. But Funty was wondering if this is one big family or multiple families. Well, if we had to break it down, that's simply it. Yes, it's one big family of buffalo. A breeding herd, they will normally stay together. They might break off into smaller or join and become bigger. So there's a bit of movement between them, but the reason they're in these big numbers is obviously, the main reason is safety. I just want to have a look a little bit further so we can get a better view at that buffalo with the funny horn. Oh, that's quite pretty. 3 in a row, looking back at us. With backlit behind them. Oh, and the one turns his head. Naughty buffalo. And they're not drinking in these mud wallows. They are slowly mobile towards the treehouse waterhole. So we're going to try get ahead of them again before they arrive at the waterhole. Amalia is saying that the buffalo horns look like they might block their hearing a little bit. If they do, Amalia, the benefit of having those horns to defend themselves far outweighs the little bit of sound that they might lose. I'm hoping we're going to beat the forerunners, sorry Buffy, down to the waterhole, because they can get very excited when they approach water. You can see we're moving with the herd. We're not going to be drinking out of the treehouse waterhole though. Fortunately, we have water bottles. But it'll also give us a chance to view them out in the open more slightly. As you can see, we are literally part of the herd at the moment. So we've got to get our buffalo amble down to the water, you know, soak up all the dust and flies and the smells. So anyone who's ever smelt a cattle farm, that's what a herd of buffalo smells like. Oh, lots of dust. You can see it from all running around. You can probably find some of them can smell the water already. They're getting quite excited, except this young male, who's definitely not in a hurry. But he's in a hurry. Oh, thank you, finally. Now you're in a hurry. It is incredible that we can just become completely surrounded. We're still surrounded on all four sides by these buffalo. Let's see if I can jump ahead here. There we go. Thank you, Buff. Let's try to get ahead now. So, Ravi in New York's wondering whether these buffalo ever break out and raid the crops of local people. They don't really, and they are grass eaters more than sort of crop eaters. So elephants are the ones that generally do a lot of damage if they get out, but they don't get out very often. So they don't. I think we've caught up with the front runners. You see how long it took us to get through them? You know, some of the first buffalo. Oh no, there's still more on the left. This could be a full 500 herd by the looks of things. We're going to get a better idea when they all arrive at the waterhole. So what we're going to do is we're going to get there first, and we're going to wait. They're probably about 5 to 7 minutes from getting to the waterhole. Now, Kat's wondering, do leopard ever hunt buffalo? Very rarely, and generally only the males. I've seen a male leopard dash into a big herd of buffalo like that, grab a baby and go straight up a tree. So they do, but it is quite an uncommon occurrence. Well, there's some old boys here. Oh, they all disappeared. There we go. There's a really big group of dwarf mongoose. They just popped under, a lot of them just popped under the ground there. But they're all grooming. So Joan, who's in Washington, would like to know how long it would take for a herd of buffalo to realize the lions are there. Well, after the lions have made their initial charge, they're pretty much well aware, and those lions will often harass them for hours, charging in, resting, and charging in. These little guys are going to be spending the night here. Very, very cute. It's a particularly big little business. we're going to go wait on the other side of the waterhole. It's probably going to be a few minutes before the buffalo arrive. But let's get into the right position before they arrive and let them come to us, rather than us trying to get to them. So there are a couple of old boys here. And you guys are going to have to skedaddle soon. The young bucks are on the way. Now, a big herd of buffalo like that will drink twice a day normally. We are now in position to wait for them. So while we wait for these buffalo to arrive, apparently there is a arboreal primate waiting for you on Cheetah Plains.
Hello everybody, we're here on Cheetah Plains where we failed to find a cheetah, but the other day Brent Leo Smith made mention of this very tree, and he then spent 15 minutes flinging a stick at it in order to retrieve one of these, which is the pod of Cassia abbreviata, the sjambok pod. Now, sjambok used to be a hippo hide whip used to beat anything from errant baboons to even, unfortunately, to workers. And so sjambok is probably, it's actually now called the long-tailed cassia because sjambok is irretrievably attached to our troubled history. So long-tailed cassia, and the way I remember the Latin name is because abbreviata sounds like abbreviate, and it's the opposite, and it's the long tail. That will probably not help you one iota, but that is how I remember the long-tailed cassia, Cassia abbreviata. It is a very pleasant tree to be sitting in, I must say. Our plan from this point onwards is going to be to head basically in the direction of the right-hand side of your screen towards a waterhole called, ironically enough, Cheetah Plains Waterhole, and then onto the clearings to see if anything has popped out there. There were some male lions on Mala Mala, not too far from where we are now, but they were on a dam wall. The wind is gusting through my tree. They were on a dam wall inside there, so they might head north a little bit later on. So there we go, long-tailed cassia. I'll retrieve that and give it to Brent Leo Smith, and now I shall depart the tree. Okay. Brian, if I fall, you know what to do, don't you?
Put the car in first gear and race away.
Exactly. Well done. You can see I'm tremendously agile, Brian. You see that?
I can.
I'm like a monkey.
So dexterous.
Yes, dexterous like a monkey. That
Beautiful.
was truly elegant.
Magnificent.
Magnificent. Right, here is the long-tailed cassia pod, and I'm just going to break it open and show you the seeds. There we go. Do you see it, Brian? Next to my eye.
Keep it there.
I'll keep it here. Now, as I was saying, while Brian focuses in on this slightly ridiculous picture for your Sunday afternoon, we are on a different camera, the A7S. Deeply difficult thing, unless you have the hands of a very small child, which Brian, of course, at 6'4", does not have, and so difficult for him to maintain control of the difficult camera. This is because our dear friend Sam Chevalier unfortunately had a fight with a tree yesterday. The tree won, the camera lost. The long-tailed cassia. Let's take it home for Brent, show him how it's really done. He won't like that one little bit. It is a truly lovely afternoon, and as I was saying when I began my work cycle about 2 weeks ago, I said this is a wonderful time of year because the temperature is very delightful in the afternoon. Well, it's delightful most of the time, and it's exactly how I was talking about it, exactly what I was talking about. It's now a sort of very warm autumnal sort of feeling about the place. It doesn't get too hot during the morning drive at all. And it's round about probably 30 degrees now, just about 86 degrees. I think buffalo are starting to arrive at yet another pan. Let's go back across to Brent. I'll see you at this pan.
Here we go. The buffalo arriving. He has one of the older boys. He's got to get out of here before the males arrive. You can see he's not particularly happy about having his spa day ruined. But if one of those younger, more virile males happened upon him, it might be a little bit difficult for him to defend himself. Isn't this incredible? They're going to all come drink now, and often they might go right into the water, especially a herd of this size. Just streaming in at the moment. I hope you guys are getting some nice screenshots. That dust does make for very pretty light. Look at this, isn't this incredible? I'm just going to keep quiet for a little bit and just you can listen to the sounds of this buffalo herd as they come down to the waterhole. Isn't this incredible? Absolutely amazing. So as I was saying, big herds like this. Oh, pandemonium. We'll drink twice a day. And now you can hear it's actually going to become so loud and I have to speak up. Isn't this beautiful? And I said twice a day, normally in the early morning and then in the late evening. And then from here they'll move to a place of relative safety, or what they consider safe. Top of a crest somewhere, slightly more open to try avoid lions. So we'll wait till you can see a nice little one close by. But Debbie's wondering, how do buffaloes' horns grow? And when do they start growing? They start growing almost immediately. There will be little lumps already formed as they are born. Oh, oh, oh. Male chasing a male in the water. Trying to look for a nice example for you, Debbie, but at the moment there are no little ones too close to us. Okay. Oh, horn in the bottom. So this is the perfect example here. We've got lots of different ages to have a look at, so we can have a look at different sets of horns. So there's a slightly smaller one. He's got little horns, but he's probably a couple of months old already. You can see how those horns develop. And then just behind him, you can see a little bit older. So they do start sort of a little bit closer in before they spread out. Now the females don't have hard bosses. So they generally have a gap or a very soft boss with hair on it. And it's only the males that develop it red. Yeah, that one there. Have a look at her. All. So let's just have a look where it comes on to the right a little bit. One right in front of us. There, that one. So you can see how she doesn't have a thick boss, neither does the lady who's got an earring, a piece of foliage stuck behind her horn. So they don't need to use their horns to bash at each other. Generally, the only thing they're going to bash is going to be a predator like a lion, so they don't need it to be that hard. But if we go out into the middle, there, you can see him there, how his horns have developed, and they're almost like rock on top now. That's because he's got to bash his head against another hard head of another buffalo to compete. So over time, it becomes harder and harder and harder. So when you look at those very old boys, their bosses are literally like cement. Herd still coming, more arriving all the time. Oh, there we go, see the little one? Oh no, there's a head in the way. But you'll see even on something that size, which is a couple of days old, you'll see the starting of the horn formation. So Lucy's wondering, how far can buffalo smell the water from? I would guess quite a distance. You see, I'm not exactly sure. Oh, okay, Dave, come out. And let's go right into the water here. And all the terrapins that are being disturbed by this big herd of buffalo. Now, they will also be taking free meals off the buffalo, eating ticks on the buffalo that are lying down or keeping still. And quite often when you hear that, sometimes it's not from being chased by another buffalo. It could be the fact that a terrapin has got hold of a tender spot in its mission to remove ticks as a meal. Isn't it amazing? So much fun being in a nice big herd of buffalo. We don't see them as often as I would like, but it is great to have them here this evening. So, from a big herd of buffalo to the largest bird in the world.
Can you believe it? This is precisely what I hope to find over here, everybody. An ostrich or two, and we have two here. They appear to be a courting couple. He, the black one, she, the brown one, and his wings are open. Now, normally I actually have to confess I know very little about ostrich because I've hardly ever seen them in the wild. And you can see his wings are open like that, and the only time I've ever seen that, I suppose, is when they've been demonstrating to each other or a female. So I can only think that he's either demonstrating to her, or what is more likely is you can see his rather impressive sort of hind quarters there, his enormous powerful back leg is exposed, and what he's probably doing by opening the wing like that is to try and remain cool. What they'll be eating, of course, is a whole lot of sort of new shoots. That's the kind of thing they'll eat. They're almost entirely herbivorous, if I'm not mistaken. And they'll be eating new shoots and new leaves off this clearing. Very happy for the little bit of late rain that we had, but, of course, going into some fairly dry and lean times. They do have a look of utter astonishment on their faces all the time. It really is, I mean, it is amazing to think that that is a bird. An interesting one, of course, which doesn't really apply to this particular bird, but Dar, you're interested in whether all the migrating birds that come through here will have bird flu. No, it's highly unlikely, I would have imagined. So, I mean, I don't know a huge amount about bird flu either. The H1N1 virus, as far as I know, is transferred to humans via chickens. I've no doubt it is in some Asian populations of birds that come over here. Whether all birds then have it or get it, I have absolutely no idea, I'm afraid. But I'm pretty sure that we're unable to get it from wild birds unless we come into physical contact with them. Now, unless you're driving along very fast and happen to have an accident with a flying bird physically, the chances of you touching or coming into contact with a wild bird out here are negligible to zero. I can tell you for sure that, well, it's highly unlikely that these ostrich would ever have H1N1 because, of course, they don't migrate. They're not great flyers, ostriches, are they, Brian?
Not really.
No. Indeed, the only flightless bird that we get here. And Penny, you're in South Africa and you make a very good point. They do the most astonishing dance ritual to attract the female. That male, the black one, will do incredible things, waving his wings about the place in order to attract the female. He's perhaps done that already because he seems to have found a consort. Now the next really exciting thing, of course, would be to find a nest of an ostrich. And an ostrich egg, of course, is roughly, I think, 30 times the size of a chicken's egg. So you can make a fairly substantial omelette from one ostrich egg. I'm making a joke there. We're not actually going to harvest the eggs to make omelettes, are we, Brian?
No,
No, that would be silly.
it would be.
Yeah, we have plenty of hens' eggs for that sort of thing. Just a most amazing adaptation. Sarah, you're in Ohio and you want to know if ostriches mate for life. I don't know. I'm going to check for you immediately as we speak. I don't think they do. I think how it works, Sarah, I'm going to guess for you while I look, but I think how it works is he will actually have more than one mate. Might be her that has more than one mate. Hang on, which of course is possible with birds, but not possible with just about anything else. Doesn't seem to have ostrich anywhere. It's very silly. It's because it's in a family all of its own, of course. There we go, here we go. Right. Polygamous. They are not, certainly not monogamous. Nest is a scrape in the ground, of which we know. Eggs laid by one or more females. Males incubate at night and females mostly by day. So that's interesting. So they are polygamous, but that might mean that they have a sort of a lifelong polygamy. So one male mating with up to 4 females. That's how it works. And the males are territorial, the females not territorial. And Cindy, while we're on the subject of their breeding, do they build nests? No, they just kind of make a sort of scrape in the ground, which is quite interesting. And the female will lay there, and as I said there, the male will incubate during the day, and at least at night, I think I said, and the females will incubate during the day. Very interesting. Oh, and they often lay in the same nest. That's quite interesting. Fascinating. So one male, 4 or 5 females, and they lay eggs of up to 17 eggs in one nest. You know, I've clearly got lots to learn about ostriches. I shall do so in coming weeks and months as we observe them. Some from books, of course, which is important, and others from direct observation. Now, of course, an ostrich on foot is an interestingly dangerous thing to come across, because you can get yourself into quite a lot of trouble. And you don't want to be chased by one of these things because they are very fast indeed. 70 kilometers an hour they will run. That is sort of 50 miles an hour. And they kick viciously but to the front. So if you ever find yourself accosted by an ostrich, everyone, remember these words: lie down on the ground if you cannot get up into a tree in time. The ostrich will find it very difficult to get hold of you then. What they do is they disembowel you. Now, of course, the word disembowel is very unattractive, isn't it, Brian? Conjures up all sorts of horrible images. Disembowel. But what they do is they've got vicious claws on the front of their feet there. You can see, and if they ever were to kick you, they kind of hook at your midriff. So the best thing is to lie down. And an interesting question about whether or not they are meaner or have a nastier disposition than buffalo. I'd say they're probably less rational, to be honest. You can see their brains are not large, smaller than the eye. That is the famous fact. As you can see the bird's eye there, his brain is smaller than that. And because of that, I suspect his rational decision-making ability is smaller than that of a buffalo's, and so is therefore more likely to be more likely to attack you for no reason. A buffalo is pretty predictable. I suspect an ostrich probably isn't quite as predictable. And then Genevieve, you're interested in why on earth they should be black, because it does stand out like that. Genevieve, I think that the reason is much the same for many birds that are obviously disadvantaged by their colour or the length of their tails. I think the fact that he's so obvious, so clearly encumbered by that colour, makes him more attractive and indicates that he has genes that are able to survive such an encumbrance, and he's therefore a good option for a mate. You often find that with birds, of course, because the males often play very little role in upbringing. They sometimes do play quite a large role, but often they don't. And so it doesn't really matter if once he's mated, if he gets wiped out, the female will still raise the youngsters quite successfully. It's just so special, everyone. Hello, Gracie, in Ohio. You were interested. You say you've never seen these ostriches before, and are they bigger than me? Gracie, they are much, much bigger than me. That's not to say much, but they're even bigger than Brian, if you can believe it. They stand from foot to beak tip. They stand at, I'll tell you exactly. They stand, can you believe it? This thing doesn't say. It will say, come on, here we go. Up to 2 meters tall. Now, Gracie, 2 meters tall is, if I'm not mistaken, about 7 feet, Brian. 6'9" or so.
Yeah.
6'9" to 7 feet. Brian is 6'4", so they are 5 inches taller than Brian. Up to 100 kilograms, that's 220 pounds for a big male, and a female about 90, so she's about 200 pounds. That's a very big one though. Probably on average just less than that. And Keith, while we see these, it's quite a strange thing to see here. We don't often see them, and indeed, until we came to Cheetah Plains, we hadn't seen an ostrich in all SafariLIVE stories, as far as I remember, as far as I can work out. And Keith, you're wondering if they are in fact indigenous at all to Africa. They are absolutely indigenous. They're indigenous to South Africa. Normally the drier regions up sort of in the Karoo semi-desert area up into the Kalahari. So not that common here, but absolutely indigenous, and a very famous export from South Africa is a lot of many ostrich products, from the eggs to the feathers to the meat. They are farmed quite extensively in the south of the country, southwest of the country, in the Karoo, around Oudtshoorn. I say that after a big night out, Oudtshoorn. and that's where they breed ostriches often for meat. I just love the colour there, the open plain and then backed by that lovely green as the sun starts to sink. Now CT, I suspect your question is born of a slightly apocryphal story. Now what I mean by that, of course, is that there is a legend that diamonds used to be found in the crops and therefore the dung of ostriches. Now this was probably given rise to by the fact, well, first of all let me explain this. A crop, of course, is the bit of, it's the sort of storage pouch that they have just below the throat here, and I think what was probably more accurate is that they were found in the gizzard. Now the gizzard is a sort of muscular part of the top of the stomach that ostriches and many other birds will eat stones and hold in the gizzard, and then the gizzard sort of acts like teeth, sort of like a grinding mechanism, because they don't have teeth, so they'll eat the seeds into the gizzard. This muscular sort of stomach will move around and with the stones crush up the food, and then digestion can happen more easily. And there were many apocryphal stories about ostriches eating diamonds and therefore being, sort of being carriers of diamonds in their gizzards. And CT, you say that many ostriches were killed by settlers under the impression that they had these diamonds within their gizzards. I suspect quite strongly that that is an apocryphal story. I don't know that for sure, but they wouldn't have been in this area, but certainly in some of the areas around the Orange River and around Kimberley, which is in the Karoo, where of course the world's biggest diamond mines have existed. Certainly they would have found surface diamonds around there, I suppose, at one stage, and therefore may well have picked them up and put them into their gizzards as they would have with quartz. I doubt they selected them specifically, but I guess you could have found the odd ostrich with a large diamond in the gizzard. Very nice question that. Thank you, CT. And I'd love to know if those stories are actually true or if they're just born largely of one or two incidents, which then probably did result in a whole lot of ostriches being wiped out for the express reason that they thought that there were diamonds within the gizzard. Let's have one last look at them and then we'll push on. So Betty, you're interested in what on earth would eat something like this, 100 kilograms, 220 pounds. What could possibly eat one of these things? And Betty, the answer is a lion. And Cecilia, you've seen a documentary with lions eating ostrich eggs. I'm sure that that is absolutely possible in the Kalahari especially. But lions here, and hyenas also, and maybe a big male leopard, would take one of these ostriches. We've also got something very special to show you here. Also birds, much smaller, much more colourful. Not sure how quickly this camera is going to be able to zoom in on them. Oh, that's speedy, Brian, hey?
It's cruising.
It is cruising. There we go. Look at that little group of little bee eaters there. 3 of them. I'm sure one of them is a juvenile from this year. Colourful, green, yellow, little bit of blue, some gold on the front. And I just saw one fly over here, and I cannot tell you, the acrobatic nature of its flight was spectacular. It just kind of stalled in the air, flicked around like a, I don't know, like a fighter pilot in an F-16 and then cruised down to where it's sitting now. I guess an F-16 is a bit old now. Let's say an F-22 Raptor. How's that, Brian?
A little bit better.
A little bit better. That's so beautiful. And we get 2 species of bee eaters that live here all year round, the little and the white-fronted, whereas the carmine and European, I saw the Europeans leaving this very morning. I think a whole flock of them high up in the sky just as the dawn broke, heading off slightly east, and then they would have turned north for Europe. As your spring hits you in Europe, such a wonderful time of year it is. I can't believe how confiding these ostriches are, and what I'm going to try and do, I just want to see how confiding they want to be. So I'm going to drive slightly off-road towards them. As soon as they move vaguely away from us, I'm going to leave them. But let's just see if they will let us get close. Of course, ostriches, I'm sure, like any other animal, will need to be habituated. Look at this, they're standing still. Nice zoom there, Brian.
Thank you.
Good job. Can't believe this. I mean, I've never seen an ostrich this close. I have seen them, they do get quite tame. So you can see them on foot if they're not sort of being territorial about life. These ones are being remarkable. We're now about 30 meters from them, 100 feet. Just turn off. This is awesome. Hey? This is fantastic, everybody. I can't believe how close we've got to them. I thought they would run away. I even have to take a photograph with my cell phone. Ostrich. There we go. Stunning shot. Brilliant. Such lovely soft light now that we have. Oh, that's beautiful.
Lovely.
That's lovely. That is an impressive voiding of the bowels that just took place there, everybody. I hope you're as impressed by that as I am. My goodness, that was fairly amazing. Clearly not all nutritious food being eaten there, is it, Brian?
No.
Try one more approach. This is just too special. Alright, we're going to try and backlight these ostrich while you've got backlit buffalo with Brent.
So we're still with the buff. They're still milling about at the Treehouse Waterhole. Quite a few latecomers arriving still in the distance, but a lot of them are just having a nice little relax while they can. So they will move off quite shortly, I think, but we'll stay here a little longer. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? You can see some of the late stragglers still coming through. So I guess about 250 or so. Oh, mating. Oh, he wasn't fast enough before another bull chased him off the female. Beautiful big herd of buffalo. Oh, there's going to be a horn in the back now. It looks like a bit of an altercation between two males there. They decided to come up to the top of the dam, get a bird's eye point of view. Have a look over there. There's a little one feeding there, and notice how they headbutt mom's udder to help make it release milk. And notice every now and then you'll just lift up and give that udder a good headbutt. There we go. Magic. is a Cape buffalo, and we get a water buffalo and indigenous to India and Asia. I'm just going to move a bit closer again, I think. And we only get Cape buffalo here in Africa, or in southern Africa. And Steve's wondering, do they form individual bonds with other members of the herd? Probably, but not too sort of tight bonds, not something like you would get, say, in a pride of lions or a troop of baboons or monkeys. It's quite nice to be down eye level with them. Oh, there we go. You can see they're going to start moving off now. Andrew's wondering, do they ever charge vehicles like elephants or rhinos do? The old boys can, but it is very, very unusual. Normally they're quite placid, especially when they're in a big herd like this. They might run off rather than charge. Oh, looks like they're just milling about now. There's that little one who was head-butting mom's udders shortly. You can see already the little horns forming, and I think probably less than a week old, that little guy. So buffalo breed throughout the year, so that's why you have so many different ages. So there's probably quite a few pregnant ones about. And well, it looks like you just lost mom again, or he's going for a little dip. I'm getting quite deep in there. Lost amongst the other buffalo. Whoops. I think we're going to leave this herd now, and let's go start moving slowly towards Arathusa and see if we can get an update on Mr. Tingana. Let's have one last look at these guys. Here we go, buffaloes. So Nigel's wondering if there's a ranking in these buffalo to be in the water. I think there's enough space in this particular waterhole. If they all wanted to have a turn, they could. But in smaller bits of water, there definitely is, and the big bulls will chase others out, and bigger, stronger, more dominant females will do the same. Brrr. Such strange noises that come out of these creatures. Oh, it sounds like there's more on the way. But it looks like they're going to start getting moving. You can see they start slowly spreading up, heading back towards the south. Now, strange enough, a big herd of buffalo like this is quite a threat to lion or leopard cubs. If they smell them or see them, they will try stampede them. All right, buffaloes, thank you for a splendid sighting. We're going to go see if we can find some kitty cats now. One last view as we drive across the top of the dam wall. Bye-bye, buffaloes. Yeah, so what a lovely little interlude. Unplanned, we were steadily heading towards the west when we bumped into that lot, that horde, should I say. Now, who can tell me what the original colonial collective noun is for buffalo? Who can tell me what the original colonial collective noun is for a herd of buffalo? If you know the answer, pop me an email on questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. Oh, trying to mount caused a bit of pandemonium. Oh, running for the joy of life. Oh, and a jump, nogal. Wow. Bye-bye, buffaloes. See you. So I haven't forgotten about the nearly impossible tree quiz. I'm still looking, but we did get slightly sidetracked by those buffalo. Now, when tracking cats, a big herd of buffalo can be quite difficult. As you can see, if a leopard had walked down here, all the tracks would have been obliterated by the passing of the big buffalo herd. So while we head towards Arethusa, James has got a wild beast, and I wonder whether it's Gnormus Gnorman.
Right, we've found, everybody, some wildebeest lying in a clearing here, as wildebeest are wont to do. And I'm scouring these clearings, of course, because I want to see if we can't perhaps find a jackal or two, maybe a black-backed jackal, or even a side-striped, both of which we have seen in this area before. And they're very happy in this clearing. They can see what's coming to bite them. And Brent apparently wants to know if I found Gnorman the gnu. We did actually. We found him while you were looking at the buffalo. He was standing at Cheetah Plains Pan with a hammerkop and 2 blacksmith lapwings. So he's got some nice friends. And I must say, I think it's very interesting that Brent, who is pathologically averse to naming animals, has managed to name himself a gnu of all things. And to name it Gnorman is, well, I think he's turned a corner, obviously. Good on him. Don't you think, Brian? Gnormus Gnorman the gnu. And he also, of course, named the impala, the one-eyed impala, Nelson.
Times are changing.
Times are changing, you know, it's something in the air. People are either growing up or changing, or I don't know, maybe there's something in the air. Look at that, Brian. A rolling wildebeest. Oh, they're all up. High action here on the plains of Cheetah. The one thing about a plain like this, of course, is that the wind does blow a little more strongly. Oh, look what's coming. That wildebeest is looking, everybody, at our friends, Mr. and Mrs. Ostrich. Should we give them a name? Oscar and Oksana, what do you think?
They could do with some work.
Don't you like Oscar and Oksana? I think they're beautiful. And especially, I mean, that's in honor of Alex the Russian. Oksana the ostrich. Oksana just made an enormous poo. That's very impressive. Basically on Oscar's legs. This is wonderful. I just can't believe our luck with these things. They've come following us through here. Back to our wildebeest friends here. One is a bull, and that one is a bull there on the left-hand side, and he has got, it's obviously nearly, I mean, they should have bred by now. They should have mated already, because of course they've got a gestation period of just about 9 months, and they'll want to give birth in November time, just as the rains come. So I suppose, yeah, I mean, they're just coming out of their breeding season, but that sort of fairly substantial package that he's got hanging between his legs doesn't exist like that all year round. It's only during mating season. So it tells me that they're probably just mated, and maybe this particular little herd is, I don't know, maybe their cycle is slightly later than the others. And I'm sure that's at least one cow and a youngster from 2 years ago. So a year, or an 18-month-old yearling. It's just so nice having a clearing like this, everyone. I think it's so wonderful. Because of course we don't have many clearings like this on Djuma. That's not because there's anything wrong with Djuma at all, it's just a different landscape. And as Brent has said, I think that this was probably mechanically cleared in some way many, many years back, and it has attracted an entirely different suite of animals. Ostriches, wildebeest, cheetah much more frequently, and my favorite out here, the jackals. I hope very much that we'll be able to find a... Do you think Oscar and Trisha would be a better name? I'm not sure why you think Trisha is better than Oksana. I quite like the fact that it began with an O, and of course was a Ostricia, O-I-C, that's actually quite clever, much cleverer than mine. Oscar and Ostricia. Yes, okay, yeah, no, I can go with that. Happy with that. Oscar and Ostricia. Lovely atmosphere here on the plains. Gentle breeze blowing out of the southeast, like I said. The sun just dipping below a cloud, so that's why you're seeing the light a bit flat. It'll shortly come below that cloud and light us up in the golden rays of the late autumn afternoon. We'll have a look now at the sun. You'll notice that the camera the camera must move with a great slowness because it is unable to zoom with a great speed. Ryan, I've just been stupid enough to look at that sun with my binoculars, so I probably won't be able to see anything for the next week. Everybody, please remember that, especially if you are a younger viewer. Do not look at the sun with your binoculars. That's a particularly stupid idea. And Louis the lion, you say you don't think their names affect them particularly unless we point them out to the predators. No, of course they don't. You're absolutely right, Louis. And I know we've had arguments about names, and we've had arguments about how you spell the names. You know, the animals really don't care. I'm sure they have their own names for each other. Vildi, Vilmina, Gnorman. I'm going to stop now. The problem with being live, of course, is that you can't take anything back. Let's leave these fellows and do a little trip through the clearings and see if we can't pick up some jackals, some jagalas. I'm going to go this way. We came off, there's a road just over here that we can go to. And then we'll drive along the Mala Mala boundary and see if there isn't anything that way. There was, at one stage, talk of some lions in Mala Mala on the dam wall, just excuse me, just over that way. But with this camera, I'm afraid there will be 2 pixels long. But there is an incredibly impressive community nest spider's web. Check this out, Brian. That is amazing. Now, while Brian zooms in on this, and we'll get there basically by next week, Prince, you're interested in the silver-backed jackal. I we get two types of jackal here. One, the side-striped, and the other is the black-backed jackal. And I've not heard any of them referred to as silver-backed, but those are the only two species of jackal that we get in South Africa, and both of them do occur here. Isn't that an unbelievably impressive community nest spider? I'm just going to get out and have a look at it. Brian will tell me if Brent finds something astounding and Rebecca wants to link. I'm just going to carefully walk around the back of the car so that the ostriches don't either freak out and come running towards me in order to disembowel me, or run away, neither of which we really want. Keep an eye on those big birds there, Brian. Now, what we have here, of course, is a huge group of spiders. Most of these threads here are called knockdown threads, and what they will do is provide a space where the insects, the prey, can bang, and then they will fall down sort of into this melange of female spiders that will come out and then eat them. I'm just trying to see if we can find maybe one of the spiders. And of course, to those of you who are arachnophobic, the thought of doing something like that must be absolutely terrifying to you. They're only about that big, the little spiders, and they're completely harmless to human beings. Not psychologically, obviously. And this tree, actually, this tree is called a sweet thorn. A scented thorn, sorry. I think this is Acacia nilotica. We don't get this tree on Djuma at all. So another wonder of the plains of Cheetah. It doesn't smell anything like as delicious as the flaky thorn flower, but it makes a pod that smells like, I don't know if you can remember those, or if you get like a sort of fake apple flavored sweet or something like that. We used to get suckers here, or lollipops called fizz pops, and the green ones tasted delicious and exactly like the pods of this tree smell. Right, let's pop along the mile boundary and see what we can find there. I might just have, I'm sorely tempted to just check the Kruger boundary, not because the animals know any different, but just because. It's so nice out here. It's such a nice addition to our traversing area. Feels like you can see forever out here. I'd like to see some cheetah forever. And we'll just scan the clearings here. Now, of course, if you go to East Africa or Kenya, the actual process of tracking is largely a process of trying to spot things on the vast open plains. So let's stop here, make like an East African, and scan the plains. I just saw something that looked fairly tawny over there. I think it's a fallen down tree. We'll scan the plains quickly. Of course, well, I'll scan them quickly. Brian and his camera will scan them very slowly. Not so, Brian. I see only vast expanse of land. And Lady Macbeth, I was talking about the scented thorn, and you say all these thorn bushes look the same to you. Yes, unless you're fairly well trained and versed in their existence, it is very difficult often to tell the difference between them. But it does come with time, Lady Macbeth, that you are able to tell the difference between the scented thorn, the flaky thorn, the paperbark thorn, the red thorn, the black monkey thorn, and all the other kinds of thorn that you find here. Brian, do you like my pose as I survey my domain?
Very much so.
More accurately, the domain of far wealthier landowners than I, of course. But sometimes it's nice to pretend, of course, that you are the first man to set eyes on such plains. Marvellous. It's a pity there's nothing in them, but anyway, such a gorgeous Sunday afternoon. Let's go and check the Kruger boundary, simply because we can. Now, I'm talking a lot about boundaries, of course, and well, they're just boundaries that we can't cross. The ostriches have, of course, crossed onto Mala Mala. We're on the Mala Mala boundary, so to the south of us is Mala Mala, very famous private South African game reserve. In fact, probably the pioneers of private ecotourism in South Africa. So the Kruger Park came along, started admitting tourists, I think in the early 1930s. So that was a long time ago. And then in the late 60s, these collection of private farms, which had been, people had attempted to run cattle on them, they'd prospected for mines on them, they'd attempted to grow maize, they'd attempted to harvest them for wood, and all had been commercial disasters. And then the family that owned Mala Mala opened it up as a private ecotourism lodge, and it's just gone from strength to strength. As from a business point of view, that is. Now, Aaron, you're in New Zealand, and I imagine you must be in Monday already, Aaron. You want to know what the chances of seeing a African wildcat here are. Aaron, I'd say probably about the same as they are in Djuma. I don't really see why we'd see them anymore here. An African wildcat won't necessarily like the openness of those plains. It'd probably prefer to have the kind of closed woodland like we're going through now, which is the standard fare at Djuma. And here we are on the Kruger boundary. Historical spot this, of course. The fence came down round about 1992, which is a very long time ago indeed. We'll just drive onto it slowly. I'm going to trespass slightly, watch. No, I'm not, I'm joking. I just like to look down either way because it is so amazing. So that way that you're looking is Skukuza, and that is the capital of the Kruger Park. And that way up north is towards Nkoro and Torchwood and Buffelshoek, all of which border on Djuma, where we center our activities. Right, let's go back this way. I still haven't managed to find out what tree that was that I found here the other day. Now, if you're wondering why on earth you're not seeing Brent Leo Smith at the moment, given that we don't have particularly huge numbers of game with us, he's hopefully going to have a very nice surprise for you a little bit later. But suffice it to say, he is driving at a great speed. I'm sorry, the radio is going ballistic. And of course I can't hear why it's going ballistic, but it is going ballistic. Gorgeous light coming into the clearings now, and I think we'll go up to the coral boundary and see what we can find over there. Now, Craig, in Cape Town, you've mentioned an animal that I wish I had seen and I have actually never seen, and that's an aardwolf. Now, that basically means earth wolf, everybody, and it is a very small, diminutive member of the hyena family. It looks like a tiny little hyena, and they have been seen here every so often, Craig, but really very rarely indeed. So yeah, I've never seen one here, I've never seen one anywhere. I think they're, again, much more common probably in the drier high-veld regions, and I suspect will more comfortably live with or in the vicinity of brown hyena than they will in the vicinity of spotted hyena, which tend to dominate all other members of the hyena family. And an aardwolf, of course, is an eater of termites. They eat termites. They don't really compete with the other hyenas, but spotted hyenas will not tolerate the presence of other predators if they can avoid having them around. That was a very pleasant diversion into these clearings. Just go to the northern clearings and see what we can find there. I'm still hoping to find a jackal. The only other canid we get here, other than the wild dogs, and of course the wild dogs are actually more distantly related to wolves and our domestic dogs than are the jackals. With any luck, very shortly Brent will be able to tell you a bit more about that. I think that's a log. Yes, it's a log. Thought it might be a jackal, but it's a log. Also, a different suite of birds that we could possibly see here. Much more open, and so a Kori bustard is always a possibility. Now, the Kori bustard is the world's heaviest flying bird. Although we have seen the world's largest bird outright, the Kori bustard is the world's heaviest flying bird, and they like clearings like this as well. Secretary birds, I know many of you have asked about secretary birds and if we'll see them here. It is quite possible. I haven't seen one here yet though. While we're chatting about birds, Deanna, you're interested in rollers and whether the purple roller is the same species as the lilac-breasted roller. No, Deanna, it is not. It is entirely distinct, and I will show you a picture of the two. 274, Brian, before we hit something. I'm not going to ask Brian to try and focus on this book while we're actually driving. There are the roller species. We get 3 of them here, possibly 4. The racket-tailed is a possibility, but highly unlikely. There's the lilac-breasted roller, which is with its unsurprisingly lilac breast, the European roller, and then the purple roller there, Diana. And we get them both. We get them both largely on quarantine clearings. Actually, there are couples or pairs of both species on quarantine clearings. So absolutely, we could see them both there. I haven't seen any here, I must say. Things have got rather quiet since the ostrich and wildebeest came along. Anyway, let us continue our little voyage of discovery, see what else we can find. Oops, I missed the clutch there, Brian. Sorry about that. There also seem to be fewer flies here, don't you feel? Well, it's much a relief. And in case you were wondering, no fireside chat today. Oh, and Brent was trying to find you earlier a green-winged pytilia, and Donna, you're interested in what else it could be called because you can't find it on your list. It used to be called a Melba finch, It's a very beautiful bird. I'm sure Brent showed you a picture. It's a stunning bird. It's called a Melba finch. So you'll find it sort of towards the back of the book if you've got a book. Brian, that's going to be very pretty just now, isn't it? Shall we stop and look? Let's have a look. There you are, everybody. Is that fine? Back of it? Oh, I can't believe it. Lady Macbeth, while we watch this autumnal sunset sinking below the western horizon, you say that the barn swallows have arrived back in the United Kingdom. That is amazing. I saw 1 or 2 last week. I know that our barn swallows don't actually go to the UK. I think ours go to France or something like that. I'm not sure why. But it must be so exciting for you, Lady Macbeth, to find the barn swallows arriving back. You must get a real feeling of spring, even if the British weather doesn't necessarily ever give you a feeling of spring and summer. I hope it will, though. Let's watch the sun go down. And we're not the only ones watching the sun go down. I'm not going to ask Brian to show you what I've just seen. I've just spotted some ground hornbills, highly endangered, and they've amazingly just flown into a tree to watch the sunset. It's incredible. It's like they sort of flew up there to have a look. And I don't know, Brian, it's a waste of time with this Zoom, is it? Okay, we'll quickly have a look just before the sun sinks, just so that you do believe me. They're in that tree in the far distance there that Brian's zooming in on. There they are. There's 3 black pixels that you can see there. Those are the ground hornbills. Isn't that lovely? And as the sun touched the horizon, they leapt up and flew into that tree, and it was almost as if they thought, wow, the week's come to an end. Let's have a little chill-out session and watch the sun go down as the humans do. We do like a good sunset, don't we, Brian? I might take a picture of myself. I'm a highly skilled photographer. Did you know that?
I did. I've seen your work.
You've seen my work. It is amazing, isn't it? As I've said to you, everybody, I normally have people normally laugh heartily when they see me taking photographs, because it's always such a massive production. Right, the sun is going down, but the sun waits for no man, and the other things that don't wait for any man are wild dogs.
Yay, my favorite critter in the whole of the African bush, the African wild dog, Lichen pictus, the painted wolf. So it looks like the sands pack at the moment. So I'm just going to move a little bit so we can see a few more of the pack. They're lying up right on the boundary. Oh, that's a big stick. It's amazing how much the pups have grown. Look at there, a little bit of begging going on. Now it looks like they're reasonably well fed. They might have ate something this morning, but we're at the perfect time to be with them. They are crepuscular hunters. So crepuscular, that means most active at dusk and dawn, at dusk. Now, the most exciting creature around. They're always up to something. Now, I'm going to have a look if we can see the alpha female. She should be pregnant by now. They're going to be looking to den probably early May, but they will be inspecting various den sites already. I can see 11, but I think there's a few more that might be out of sight at the moment. Stunning creatures. Often had a bad rap in the past for being overly ferocious. They're actually very effective killers. Unlike lion and leopard that go for the strangulation hold, they literally rip things apart. But those animals are normally in shock and very effective hunters. Love the different patterns on their coats. I'm keeping a lookout, trying to see if I can see any obvious signs of pregnancy in the alpha female, but she could be lying down. That's why we can't see her belly. And isn't this just the most exciting thing? The most wonderful creatures. They're the second most endangered canid in Africa. Now, there's only about 4,500 left in the wild. They need massive home ranges, upward of 100,000 acres per pack, and they cover vast distances, and they can move incredibly quickly through an area. It's definitely the right time of the day to be with them. So they've probably been sleeping through the heat, and they've just woken up. They're going to start greeting and getting mobile. And you can see how big last year's pups are. There's one there. You can see they've grown immensely. They're nearly the same size as the adults. And the next set of pups, they'll take an active role in helping to rear them, in hunting and regurgitating meat. And more than likely, one of them will also be a babysitter when the alpha female starts hunting again and leaving the den site. They will leave one of the youngsters there as a babysitter. So this is the Sands pack, I think, just judging from where they've come from. So they've come from the south. Look at this. So the fact that they're not really actively in search of game, they are probably quite full. I think I did hear that they caught something this morning. Oh, there's quite a big wound in that one. That doesn't look too serious. And just a flesh wound, you can see, not really moving, affecting the mobility at all. Those type of injuries normally happen in the hunt, and I don't think it's from another predator. I think it could be from a horn. Now, if they keep moving east from here, there's a big open area that's got lots of impala, which is one of their favorite foods. A little bit of playing going on. Now you gotta watch the adults, like they're the ones who are gonna lead the pack to move. And there's one up now, over there. Now all the members of the pack will scent mark. And see those wonderful radar ears. Kitty Kitty Bang Bang says, if wild dogs are the second most endangered canid in Africa, what is the first? Kitty Kitty Bang Bang, it would be the Ethiopian wolf or simian fox. They're the most endangered canid in Africa. They live high in the mountains of Ethiopia. There is signs of movement now. Oh, there we go. There's the alpha female. You can see she's pregnant. There we go. You can see how her belly is heavy there. She's definitely pregnant. So there's the alpha. I just got to snap a few pictures for the wild dog researchers. They like to know this type of stuff. Okay, those dogs are going to be on the move shortly. And you guys are going to have to hold on. It's one of the hardest animals to stay with, but by far the most exciting. Very, very occasionally, a beta female will also give birth, but generally only the alpha pair will breed. And in really rare circumstances, the alpha female won't kill the beta female's pups. Normally she does, but in this pack, last year a beta female gave birth and they didn't kill the pups. Oh, look at that. Time for the hunt. So sometimes it's very difficult to stay with them, as they go through this very broken country. Now, I've lost dogs in this very block before, so guys, if I'm not looking back, I apologize, but I do have to concentrate. Lots of stumps and other impediments in this. Dave, you're going to have to help me look from your high perch. Really nice mosaic hunting area for them. So their hunting strategy is called coursing. Let's get around. Oh, there's a dog seen something. Looked like it took off on the hunt. You can see the rest of them are sped up as well. We'll try and keep parallel to them. This is so exciting. I love wild dogs. Quite often you just stick with the one you can see. Because they dash off and then they call each other back with this. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. Look at that. Incredible animals. They're trotting towards us now. Isn't this amazing? Now they're heading towards Impala Plain. I'm not Impala Plain, Sandy Patch. And that's a good spot to spot Impala on. Just hang on, guys. Standing by. Yeah, Mike, if everyone else is quite far, they're going to pop out just to the west of Sandy Patch in the next 5 minutes. So yeah, the alpha female is this one closest to us there. And you can see that belly, nice pregnant belly. We're going to try to jump up just ahead of them a little bit. See, I just love the way they move. It's just so energy efficient. And they've got incredible stamina and they can follow their prey for a long way. They've smoked something here. Smelling the male lions were actually here a few nights ago. I think they might be smelling the Birminghams. Oh. Look how close they are. Look, it's right next to us. You can smell Dave, I'm sure. Too close. They're having a good sniff around here. Definitely, I think they're smelling where the lions were. Now, lions are the biggest threat to the dogs. Oh, another one. It's popping out of the quarry bushes all around us. There's this one who's got that wound on his shoulder. As I said, it doesn't look like it's affecting his movement at all. Hello, Kaylin. So Mike from Djuma and his daughter are out on game drive. There they are. And there's Kaylin. She was saying, hello, Brent. Isn't she a cutie pie? Okay, so that one who came very close to us is doing the same again. Actually, literally gonna, I could almost lean over and touch him, he's so close. So Impala, I mean not Impala Plain, Sandy Patch, where there's lots of Impala often, is just over this ridge, through this little thicket here. So there's a good chance they might chase something. Whether we can keep up or not, that is a completely different story. So they quite often lose each other in hunts. They spread out, and quite often they can make multiple kills. So it could be 3 different kills. My record is 5 with wild dogs. Big pack, just under 30, and they killed 5 adult impala. My record with babies is 9. 9 baby impala in the morning, and that was this pack. Believe it or not, many years ago, or their forefathers, but. So I just heard there's a hyena coming behind us. Now, this could be fun. Wild dogs and hyenas have some very interesting interactions. Well, it's behind the other vehicles. So I think we'll stick with the wild dogs for now, and hopefully they spot that hyena. Now, hyenas will follow wild dog packs regularly to scavenge from them. See how the dogs, there's one there, over there, they're spread out, moving through. There's the alpha. Here we go, standing definitely in profile. You see that nice belly of hers. No impala out here on the open today. Lucky for the impala. See how she's constantly listening, those big ears swooping around. Oh, they're all around us. So beautiful, so sleek. Really, really amazing design. And they can do, I've seen them do 60 kilometers an hour for up to 5 kilometers. They do have a higher top speed, but they can maintain that incredible speed for ages. So we've just had a look at that pregnant alpha female, and Keith's wondering how much will she participate in the hunt. Still very actively. Keith, she's by no means going to be too hampered by her pregnant belly. There she is, lying in the road. Still trying to see where that hyena is. The hyena den's not very far from here. And it says it looks like they ate something quite substantial this morning. Not really that interested in hunting at the moment, but that'll all change if they spot something. Kitty Kitty Bang Bang is wondering, will an alpha female dog give birth in a den like that? Here we go, let's see what I mean. Isn't it? Oh, they're not really going, but there was an impala that just popped out there. Very silly impala. One dog's gone off at speed, but I think that, they said they're not very actively hunting. But now, the trick is to listen. Because if that dog actually catches something, it'll do what is called a contact call, a woo call. It goes woo, 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 to call the other dogs. This is definitely one of the less frantic wild dog sightings we've had. Normally careering around. One's on the move now. What have you spotted? So as we were saying, the alpha female will give birth in a den, very similar to hyenas in terms of the choice of den. They don't stay in the den all year though, or utilize dens as much. They move. Okay. Sorry, I will get to your question. I've just seen movement, and I've just seen the wild dog start jogging off. Now, I wonder if there's any impala there. So unfortunately, going into a very difficult area. We will try to stay with them as long as possible. But while we do that, Kitty Kitty Bang Bang is asking about their den. So their den in a very similar area to hyenas. A big termite mound. They'll normally utilize 2 or 3 dens while the pups are young and move for the same reasons. And that would be due to the flea infestation and that arrives. So we're going to try to stick with the dogs that are out on the western edge. It's a really thick block, very difficult to maneuver through. And normally there's impala all over these open areas, but not today. Maybe they got the memo. Still moving, so I'm just trying to concentrate watching what's going on. If you take your eyes off them for half a second, they can be gone. Now, they're heading at the moment straight down Wetila access, so they could pop out of quarantine, and we know how many impala are there. Please don't go in there. That is very thick. The road's a much nicer place. No thorns. You can see further. Good dog. Still trying to check, make sure I can still see a few other dogs moving parallel. But to me, this looks like possibly the alpha pair in front of us. I haven't spent enough time to definitely say that the one up front there is the alpha male, but it looks like it. Now there's a spot just up ahead over there where I've seen both the Sabi Sands pack and the Investec breakaway pack scent mark before. So it'll be interesting to see if they do scent mark in that exact same place. Julia Smith is wondering whether I've read the new study about wild dogs and their hunting. I have. Oh, there's a hole. There's 7 directly, literally jogging behind us. We're part of the pack. Here we go. Look, there, let me just move a little bit. There we go. So we're part of the pack this evening, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else than amongst the wild dogs. So Julia, I have read that study. We'll discuss it a little later. I just need to concentrate on the dogs at the moment. Oh, we're being overtaken. How's that one? They're going in. Disappearing on either side of us. So 7 there, 3 ahead that I know of. They're heading straight towards quarantine. You just see where James is. James. There we go, that spot I was talking about, where they scent mark. They're scent marking in the exact same spot. So they're definitely smelling. The last packed scent mark here, if I remember correctly, was the Investec pack. Look here. They got a stick. Yeah, right next to us. 3 dogs playing with a stick, all fighting over the same stick. Mine. So one dog picked it up and all of a sudden got lots of attention. Winner. can see how playful they are. Look at that. They're all sniffing around, some of them scent marking. So, because they have such vast home ranges, they often don't scent mark different areas for a very, very long time. So now coming here, and they will definitely smell the other pack. And we actually had these two packs chasing each other about twice this year, once with Jamie and once with me. Now, really, really fascinating. This pack actually killed an Investec breakaway last year as well. So they do fight between the packs. So how new packs are formed is normally either one or two male or one or two female will disperse from the pack, and only two of the same sex will disperse together, and they basically wander around till they find another dispersal, an individual or two individuals, and then they will join up, and that's how a new pack is formed. So Mike in Florida is wondering how closely related wild dogs are to dingoes in Australia. Now, they are not. As far as they're both canids, sorry guys, just need to the radio quickly. Station approaching on Vertele access. FM, so I think there's two of us here, and my dash in front of us. You're more than welcome to join. Sorry about that. So they're not related. So they veered off from the Canis genus, so they're licon, about a couple of million years ago. So they've actually got different dentition to normal dogs. A dingo and a dog will have almost identical dentition, whether these guys have a very specialized dentition for the way they hunt. They also have an extra toe. And they split from the Canis family about a couple of million years ago. So Wayne is wondering, will the pack drive out male pups when they reach a certain age? Not at all. They don't at all. So the dispersal animals will disperse by themselves, but the males and females, they will all stay together to rear the next set of pups. Malia would like to know, how big can a wild dog pack get? Malia, the biggest I've seen is around 30. The biggest I've heard of is close to 50. But when they get that big, they normally break off and form new packs. So they are normally all related. The only non-related dogs, as a general rule, in the pack will be the alpha pair. Watch, as my head's in the way, I apologize. I'm just trying to see if the hyenas are still on their way. Oh, it looks like they might be on the move towards quarantine again. Now, their smell is very distinct. You can actually smell wild dogs even after they've left an area. It's like a wet wet dog that's been locked in a cupboard for a year. Best way, I suppose, to describe it, something like that. Oh, they're on the move. So we're not going to use the spotlight on the dogs. Oh, very strong smell. We'll just use our dim headlights. Now, we'll try to stay with them for as long as we can, but once it's dark, we're not going to stay with them, as it can cause a little bit of an issue for them. In certain areas, hyenas and lions and things have learned to look for spotlights in certain circumstances, very unusual, but we don't really want to make any influence on what will happen. Look at that, going right past 50. You can see they show no attention. It's actually one of the strangest animals. It's an animal you never actually really have to habituate. They're just naturally curious, and even when you're on foot, they approach really close to you. Hello, how's everyone doing?
What's up, guys?
Nice. Hey, there you go. Friendly bunch. High fives around. Those are guys from Buffelshoek in the north. Let me see if I can get hold of James again. James. James, it might be useful just standing by somewhere on quarantine. They're heading straight down to the access point. So, because it's a bit darker, I'm staying a little bit further away from them. Now, this is ideal hunting time for wild dog. There's still enough ambient light around, but the prey species like impala, their eyes' sight struggles a little bit in the half light. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when they hit quarantine. Wondering what are the chances of them sleeping on quarantine? Not great. They'll probably prefer to sleep somewhere a little bit thicker and somewhere that's not such a major highway for other predators. So they'll probably sleep off in the bush somewhere. It looks like they might not even make it to quarantine. They've actually come to another scent marking spot. Try follow them in the half light, but it might be quite difficult because we're not going to be using the spotlight. There we go, you can just make them up there in the sky to give a little bit more ambient light for Dave to work with. How's that, Dave? Evan, who's 9 years old, wonders, will wild dogs ever attack a lion if they're desperate enough? Evan, I've seen them try chase lions, but they generally try avoid attacking a lion. A lion is probably the most dangerous thing for a wild dog. So, yes, here we go. We're still on them. Just use that light like that. Pop out in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now, there's a common misconception that wild dogs don't hunt at night at all. This is not true. I've seen them hunt on moonlit nights in Botswana, and there is quite a nice moon tonight. Not full, but enough to give them a light that they would consider continuing the hunt. Now, impala of quarantine, beware. The pack is mobile. dark and I don't want to use the spotlight, what I might do is shoot around, although splitting exactly where I was going to split. Oh, there's something right in front of them. Oh, is that just another dog in the half-light? Hey friend Mike, they are heading on that track down to the western edge of quarantine at the moment, but keep coming. This is another favorite scent marking spot of the Investec breakaway pack. See a bit of scent marking going on right in the distance there. So I do apologize for the low light, guys, but it's the best we can do at the moment. So they're sniffing around, scent markings, another common scent marking spot, as I just said, for the other pack. They just heard the impala on quarantine. Suddenly all their ears just went boom up, and there was a male impala going. I said they're not too interested in hunting this evening by the looks of things. More interested in just having a look about, checking around. One of the biggest threats to wild dogs is domestic dogs, and for a couple of reasons. Rabies and canine distemper being the main two. So Ravi in New York's wondering what is done to try minimize. There are programs that try to vaccinate domestic dogs that live in the villages around reserves. Any domestic dog that is seen in a game reserve is shot immediately, and it's a very difficult thing to control because wild dogs don't stop for fences and they can cover vast distances. So you can't really give them a vaccination. You need to top up the vaccinations, and they move so much, and you take them out of their pack. So it is a very, very difficult thing. And the Endangered Wildlife Trust monitors them very heavily, all the different packs in the different areas. Oh dear, they've changed direction again. Let's go around the long way, and we can pop out on the other side, or they might go change direction. Station looks like they're heading back towards quarantine. Standing by. I think that's a fantastic idea. I'm struggling to I'll keep an area and try to stay with them. Copy. They've just headed from Western Track Junction with vertical access down towards quarantine. I've lost visual of them in the block phones. So James has got the A7S, which does very well under low light conditions. So he's going to rush here with that camera, and we're going to just try to stick with him in the meantime. But, oh, if they go that way. And they're going into this very thick block.
Right, we're going to try and get into the wild dog sighting, everybody, because if I turn the lights off, look at that. That's what this camera is able to do. So I'm actually going to have to drive by following the picture that you can see, because I can barely see 2 feet in front of me. Brent, we've got good visual of road now with the camera like it is. Anywhere we should check? Brent is around here with the dog somewhere. He's just explaining to me where he is. Copy, do you want us to come in there? No, we've got a night camera. We won't put light on. Copy. Some idiot put light on him. This is going to be amazing, everybody. Just amazing. Sorry, I forgot for a second that we were live because we didn't have a sighting. Here we go. Here we go. There's Brent in front of us. Now we should get a view of them just on the road with any luck. I'm going to have to follow you via the screen that I'm looking at, simply because I cannot see anything in front of me. You can't believe there they are. Okay, I'm just going to have to say something here. Stations, you can't put a light on those dogs. You may not put a light on those dogs. I don't believe what I'm witnessing here. Okay, well, guys, I'm sorry, we're going to pull out of the sighting. I can't be in a sighting when they put lights on these dogs, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, everybody. You've had a good view, I think. Let's get out of here. Sorry about that, everyone. Yeah. Sometimes the imperatives to try and see animals outweigh the conservation imperatives, and that's just no good. Okay, but what we're going to do now, let's do a little experiment. I'll just give you an idea of what we can see now. Brian, can you pump the ISO up to basically so that we can see the normal, what it would look like? That's all I can see, everyone. That's what I can see. Now we change the ISO on the camera. Isn't that awesome? I think that's absolutely amazing. Anyway, so what's quite nice about this camera is that we can there's somebody on the radio now asking, pleading, not to put the spotlight on the dogs. We're going to have to find out about that. But just, I mean, you can imagine, if we had cheetah, if we had dogs at this time of the day, because they will hunt, especially on a moonlit night, and there is a bit of a moon tonight, not a particularly large one, but we would be able to follow them beautifully at this time of the day without having any effect. And that, of course, is the whole point of a night vision camera. Now, this one is not quite where we want it to be. You can see there that the picture is now quite grainy. And, I mean, I think within a year or two, we'll be at the technological position where we're able to totally film at night without any kind of lights. So I am going to turn some lights on so that your picture's not quite as grainy as this. There we go. That's better. And now we'll just have a look around quarantine and see what else there is here. Just a beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon we've had. Dogs. Surprisingly, no elephants. We saw one elephant on our way back from Cheetah Plains, and that was quite nice. But otherwise, the vast herds of elephants that we've seen. And Ange, as you say, the camera is absolutely astounding. Yes, it is. I think we've got a ways to go yet, though, Brian, hey? I mean, we have tried to use it a bit more at night than this. And it's difficult if you've got a moving sighting, and obviously the focus is not as easy as on those big cameras that we use during the day, like the ones that Brent was on. So if you had a sighting of dogs running, for example, it would be nigh on impossible to maintain a focus with this little camera. But the technology is coming, and soon we won't have those kind of, I mean, if you look at infrared, it's, what you'll look at the infrared camera at the dam cam this evening, it's probably on now, and you'll just see the kind of, you know, you can't see the color, it doesn't look so great. But with these very special cameras coming out now, each almost on a monthly basis, we're starting to see incredible improvements. Right, let's head back across to Brent and get an idea from him what he's going to be doing. We're just going to look around the pan for the next little while, and I'll see you shortly.
Dave and I are just taking a moment to reflect on what a stunning day it's been, so feel welcome to join us in a moment silent, looking at that amazing African sky. The marula trees on quarantine, clouds up in the background, absolutely stunning. But wasn't that wonderful catching up with the puppies, my favorite animal in the whole world, the African wild dog. Now let's see if we can find any other interesting creatures on quarantine. Hopefully a little carnival will do. Maybe we'll find a bush baby even. That'd be nice. So, quite often you find lovely little creatures. Tonight, and it's always very exciting in case we bump into something. And I think as the colder months get here, we're going to have a chance at maybe finding the odd porcupine. Sorry, I'm just turning down the game drive radio. There's a lot going on. I know James is heading down to check around the Djuma pan. And sometimes here near the bush pride site, I've seen bush babies that live in a marula tree there, so let's go have a squints. Looking for eyes in the trees. this is the spot where we sometimes see them. While we continue our search for bush babies and other nocturnal creatures, James has got, according to the Bushman, the lovely female goddess, the moon.
Look at that beautiful, gentle light, everybody. There's no artificial light in that picture at all. It's just beautiful moonlight on the tree and in the sky, and what looks to be, I think that's the dog star, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's Sirius, just above there. Isn't that wonderful? And the moon there sitting on the dog's back, in between Sirius and the back end of the dog. Yeah, am I correct? I'm just looking up, everyone, to check. No, I'm talking rubbish. That is a planet. That's Jupiter, actually. Sorry, that is Jupiter next to the moon. And beyond that, I'm not really sure. It's very difficult to tell, of course, to orientate yourself with the moon shining quite so brightly. Brian, shall we try the Southern Cross? Everybody likes to know the Southern Cross. It's just up ahead in front of the tree there. And look at those clouds. That's so beautiful. There we go. Now, those, if you look at the trees there, they're very nicely framing. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. Okay, so those three stars, I wonder if I can, no, I can't. Shall I try and point at them? Get my finger in there. There we go. Brian's got it. That's the Southern Cross, everyone. This is awesome. So that's the Southern Cross. And if you want to find south, you take the long axis of the cross there. Okay, so that's from the star, the brightest star on the left-hand side, down to the brightest star on the right. That's the long axis of the cross. You just stretch down, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, 3.5 times that length in the direction to the right-hand side of your screen, and you'll get celestial south. Now, what that means is, so celestial south, if you're in the northern hemisphere, which I think most of you are, that's where, if we had a southern star, like you've got a northern, like a north star, that's where it would be. So now, if Brian stops right about there, the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is celestial south. That's very cool. And those are clouds. That's not the Milky Way. Those are clouds lit entirely by moonlight. Oh, that's just too beautiful for words. Hey, look at that. No artificial light. I've turned all the lights off now. And the dog star, Brian, we can actually see it. That's it there. Is it? No, let me go back a bit, everybody. I'm just going to pull back. If you keep the camera there, Brian, I think that'll be okay. I'll try and show you Sirius, the dog star, which of course is the brightest star in the night sky. It's a little difficult at the moment, simply because the clouds are coming in. There it is. That's it there. That's it straight up above us. Yeah. So, yeah, there we go. That very bright star there in the middle of your screen is the dog star. That's it. Isn't that just too gorgeous? Did you see the satellite go out the right-hand side of the picture there?
I don't think I'll be able to catch it.
I don't think you will. It was good. There it is. There. There's a satellite, everyone. This is too fun. I can't believe we haven't done this before. Oh, that's wonderful. The Russians are watching us. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, that's so cool. And we would, of course, we would be in a perfect position to see Orion the Hunter, but unfortunately, he is behind those clouds. This is brilliant. I feel like I'm in a planetarium. Ah. And I mean, the sky to me, everybody, looks nothing like this whatsoever. It looks black, well, it looks like the night sky with you at home, that very beautiful, gentle hue, blue hue. I can't see. There's the Southern Cross again above the tree line. Wow. I can't wait to do this on a crystal clear winter's night. It will be too special. I wish we could find some other star for me to identify for you, because, but I tell you what, let's go. I'm just going to go back a little bit more because there is a bit of a clearing and we might be able to see Betelgeuse and Orion. These clouds seem to have pretty much blocked up, I'm afraid, Orion and Betelgeuse. Oh, no, there it is. Is it? Yes, it is. Okay, so I haven't got Betelgeuse, but I have got, what's it called? Oh, goodness, I've forgotten the name. It's an Arabic name. Brian, that one, yeah, that's the one there. That brightest one there is the brightest star you can see at the moment is the right-hand shoulder of Orion the Hunter. Here we go. Oh, is it? I can't, you see? Oh, no, right, here we go. Okay, I've got it. That's the knee. That's Orion's knee, that blue one there. And his belt, you can see the belt, Brian, just coming out of the clouds there. Yes, those two are the two outer ones of the belt. There we go. That's Orion's belt, everyone. Can you believe it? That is fantastic. Ha! And below that, just keep it there, Brian, if you don't mind. Below that, to the top left-hand side of your screen, is the sword of Orion, and you can find north, everyone. Can you see the arrow that's formed there by if you take it, the shaft of the arrow being the sword of Orion, the belt forming one side, and then that other star sort of middle to the bottom is the arrow pointing due north. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, wow. And Brian, if you go a little bit up and to the right, there, that's Betelgeuse, everybody. That's Betelgeuse over there. On that note, we're going to leave you. Thank you very much for joining us on this incredible star drive. Everything else pales to insignificance, even those magnificent ostriches. But with this view of the universe that's been provided is just too fantastic. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you to Rebecca and Kirsten in the final control. Let's hand you back to Brent, the wild dog hunter. We'll see you tomorrow morning in the glory of the African dawn. That's me with no light on. Bye-bye.
Boo! Well, you thought we were black screen. We weren't. What a wonderful sunset safari. Wild dogs, I'm always excited when I see them. And hopefully they'll still be around in the bright morning. So, very exciting morning tomorrow. Looking forward to getting out there, seeing what we can find. But the problem with wild dogs is they do move such vast distances. So there is just the smallest chance that they're going to be around on the sunrise safari. But you never, ever know. That's the wonderful thing. Hopefully Kruger might come back. And definitely I feel we need some lions in our lives as well. But it's going to be wonderful to have you on the vehicle. It's been great having you on the vehicle. I've had a thoroughly good time. And don't forget to keep sending those questions. We do love hearing from you. Also love to hear where you're from. So also you can do that. But from Dangerous Dave and myself, adios.